Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hardwood Nation podcast with your boy CL Anthony and my main man, Bryce Ward. What is up, Bryce?
Same as usual. Just getting ready for the NBA season to start back up, man. Can't wait.
I woke up yesterday and I was immediately horrified at what I saw. One, I'm old, so I went to bed early, and I wasn't expecting to wake up and see that. So my immediate reaction was I text you and I said, "What the fuck is this?" And then I text Nick and Kenny and said, "What the fuck is this?" When you saw the news that Cat had been traded from the Minnesota Timberwolves to the New York Knicks, what was your initial reaction before I texted you?
I thought it was fake. The first account I saw posted was like it just the image and everything looked a little wonky. And I've seen like a few of these like weird things that almost looked real over the summer. And so I was like, all right, didn't think nothing of it. A few minutes go past, I keep scrolling through stuff, and then I see another mention of it, and I go, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very surprised. I was very surprised that we saw a deal that big get done like right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to agree. Get them both in for training camp. That's your best bet.
Yeah. Which starts up for most teams this week, actually.
Mm-hmm.
The move wasn't surprising because there's been whispers of this for a long time. I just didn't think it was going to happen now, but it makes sense, and here's why. The Knicks have been looking for a big man for a very long time, and Cat was on the radar. So was Joel Embiid, who just re-signed with the Sixers last week. So that kind of moved him off the table right now. And then the Knicks were like, okay, let's go ahead and do this. We also knew that Julius Randle was not going to stay in New York, so it was just a matter of time on when they were going to move him. For the Knicks, it's a great move. For the Timberwolves, I don't understand what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy Gobert defensively is okay. Like Shaq said, like he doesn't do much. Defensively, he's okay. But offensively, there's absolutely nothing. So now you're going to need another post presence to step up. And yeah, Cat shot a lot of threes and whatnot. But you're gonna have to have a 1-2 punch there with Anthony Edwards. And as of right now, who is it gonna be? So,
it's gonna be Randall with the ball in his hand.
No.
Come on.
Nah. Randall's trash. Randall's trash. I'm sorry. It just I was angry because this year is already going to be hard for my team. I'm angry for selfish reasons. This year is already going to be hard for my team.
I was going to ask you, are you mad at the move or are you mad that the Knicks just got tougher?
They were already fucking tough.
Yeah. I agree. I believe they're going to give Boston a real race for number one, and even maybe who comes out the East this year, to be honest with you.
So, of course, all of New York was celebrating yesterday. Nick and Kenny.
I don't blame them. I'd be celebrating.
Nick and Kenny both agreed that this is the best Knicks lineup they've ever seen in their lifetime. And they were like, they couldn't even make a lineup this good on 2K.
It was already better than like the last 20 years. It was already that good. And then you have a question in Randall. People, they've been questioning whether or not they really want him there for a couple years now anyways, or quite longer.
Right.
And then you get rid of the biggest question mark that's kind of weighing you down because he does get paid a lot of money. He is like a polarizing figure. He was there before all these other guys. And you bring in arguably a better fit, a better offensive fit, and you fix your question at center, at least for now.
Mm-hmm.
It's odd how well this summer has worked out for the Knicks. I don't think I've been this surprised by how much better a team is going to be or the move that they were able to make outside of Golden State getting Kevin Durant. And I'm not comparing the two moves because Golden State was already the best, and then they added arguably the best scorer. I'm just saying, in terms of like being surprised by what a team was able to pull off with everything they already had, all the money tied up, everything else already had. You moved your biggest question mark and pulled in one of the best centers. I mean, whether or not you like him or not, he's still one of the best centers in the league in Cat. So I was just blown away by the summer overall that the Knicks have had.
Yeah, and I will say, you know, some people were mad that the almost complete Villanova Knicks was broken up before they played. But I mean, they still got 3 of the guys there, so it doesn't matter. But Dante actually played well for the Knicks last year. He did. He's a good little player, scrappy player. I like him actually. So we couldn't see the four guys play together, but hell, you still got Bridges, Hart, and then of course your boy Brunson. So you can still call them the Villanova Knicks, you know. But yeah, man, this was, like I said, for selfish reasons, I was really upset, and I was caught off guard by the timing of it. But again, since Embiid was off the table, now they're like, okay, let's go get Cat. And Minnesota, for whatever ungodly reason, gave up Cat. I don't know.
In terms of regular season positioning, I don't really think it changes much because I already thought the Knicks were going to be at the top anyways, or near the top. But for actual playoff pressure, going against them in a 7-game series looks tough, man.
If I had to rank the top 3 teams, and I've done this before, I might say the same thing. I don't remember how I ranked them. Boston's 3rd. Boston is 3rd. I have to see the Knicks play Philly. Philly will still be number 1 in my book right now. New York will be number 2. And then Boston will be 3. Those are my top 3 teams. And if I had to pick a 4th team, it would probably be you guys for some ungodly reason. But that's the top 3 that I see right now. And I really need New York or Philly to see Boston in the playoffs. I really need that for my soul.
See, I'm leaning towards New York number 1, Boston 2, and Philly 3. And not for some ungodly reason. It's going to be because we're top 2-3 defense in the league, and Paolo's going to take another step forward. That's why we'll be number 4. Oh. A lot of people are picking the Bucks, and they haven't answered any questions for me over the offseason. And if anything, they got a year older. So I don't understand. I guess people are just believing in Giannis and Dame, but I haven't seen anything that makes me think they can be too much better than last season. They're still old. Middleton's going to go down for a little bit. Dame's going to take some time off or something. Like, I just don't. I don't see it. But I'm scared to believe in my team. It's not like I know they're not good. It's just we've had the rug pulled out from under us before. But I think on paper we can be there. But
yeah. Y'all were 5th last year, so y'all can be there. I did with Milwaukee really quick, and you know what? I'll touch on Milwaukee later. All I will say is that it would be a bad first round matchup for you guys if you're the 4 and they're the 5. That's one that I can't see you guys getting through, but I do believe you guys can get in the top 4.
I would, out of the top. You could argue top 4 or 5 teams, not including us. That's the one matchup I'd want.
Milwaukee?
I don't want.
Oh, got it.
I don't want Philly, Boston, and New York. Out of those teams, I'll take Milwaukee all day.
I got you. All right, so we're going to continue our trend of picking 2 teams to talk about as we march towards the regular season. Of course, this week we had a couple of teams start training camp. Had a media day training camp last week. But this week, really, the rest of the league's going to get started. My Miami Heat are getting started tomorrow, I believe. So we may see ball-headed Jimmy this year. Who knows? But Bryce, what team do you want to talk about?
The Oklahoma City Thunder.
Okay, the fake Seattle Supersonics. Hit me with it.
Well, if Seattle gets their team back, they've already said they give them back all their titles and records and stuff. So I think they're trying to be less the fake Supersonics, which I don't know why. Those colors that the Supersonics had were fire. So
no, that was always the agreement though, that if Seattle got another team, they would give everything back. So
Mm-hmm. And they on paper look pretty tough. They added some depth, and they doubled down on their defense that was already really good. You know, Caruso with Dort, and then SGA just being pretty good on his own. And then having Chet in at times, depending on how they're going to run their lineups. I imagine Hartenstein's going to play a lot with him, or they might try to mix and match. I don't know. Either way, for as excited as I am about the Magic's defense, I think OKC's has a chance to be number one in the league. They were already trending up last year, and that's saying something considering they were still the number one team in the West. So I think with the playoff experience they picked up last year, the additions they made this summer, doubling down on defense, Shea being who he is, and them being a relatively young team, those younger guys are gaining experience every year. Holmgren really just played his rookie season, so he should take a step forward. I just think the inexperience was their biggest issue last year, and they gained a lot of that over the summer and from their playoff experience. So I think on paper they could be the number one team in the West, and I would not be surprised at all if they come out of the West. I think it's going to be a real, like, for as tough as the East is, of course, there's 4 or 5 teams that would not surprise me if they came out of the West. The Thunder, Denver, of course. Then you have the defending Western champs, Dallas. And, Minnesota wasn't far from coming out of the West. Right. So there's like 4 teams that legit have a shot. And I think out of all of those, I think Minnesota has the least chance, but it still wouldn't surprise me because Ant's so young. So none of those teams would surprise me, but I think on paper the Thunder look extremely dangerous, and I won't be, and they'd be tough in any playoffs. I think even the championship round, even though it'd be their first time getting there, they'd be a tough out just because of their defense.
Second round knockout.
By who?
So let's say if they're 1 or 2, if they're 1 specifically, they're still going to be looking at, because Dallas is going to coast the regular season. They would be looking at Dallas, maybe the Lakers. The
Lakers are getting a gentleman's sweep by Thunder if they play them.
No, but the Lakers have the size to match the Thunder, and then also maybe Memphis, depending on how they can get started with the season. Oklahoma, they're so young. That's my thing with them. They're just so fucking young. They're a great team, but they're so young, and I think one of these vet teams would clip them. Maybe, and I don't see them getting to the conference finals, to be honest with you. Of course, these are way too early predictions, but I don't see them this year getting to the conference finals. Yeah, they lost last year, but they haven't felt that pain yet. So I think if they have a second round knockout this year, they'll get that pain and then build off of that for next year, because they're so young. They're still going to be around for another 2 to 3 years. But I'm not sold on them 100% just yet. I haven't seen it just yet. What else you got as far as the Thunder?
No, I mean that's about it. I just think I think they're going to do the opposite of what we saw from Sacramento. So instead of falling back a little bit, I know they added DeRozan, which is going to be weird to me. I gotta see how that's going to work out there. But I don't think OKC is falling back. I think even if they don't make it to the conference finals, we'll see them take a leap, I believe. And whether that's taking one of the better teams to 7 games or even, making it to the second round, nobody predicted the way the playoffs were going to go last year in the West. No one was picking Dallas to come out of the West. Yeah. So it's one way or another. that's why I'm saying, like, it wouldn't surprise me if OKC made it all the way, because more than any time, both conferences are kind of like wide open, considering what we've had in the past.
Absolutely. I'm going to talk about really quick the gift that kept on giving for the duration of the last season, the Milwaukee Bucks. I know we spoke about them a little earlier. Had a kind of a quiet offseason, but they did make a couple of moves that I kind of like, to be honest with you, to kind of shore up their bench a little bit. They added Taurean Prince from the Lakers. And they also, and I forgot about this one, they added Gary Trent Jr. from the Raptors.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even watch the Raptors like Toronto should be contracted, as far as I'm concerned. But Gary Trent Jr. is a decent little player outside.
Yeah, but that was the good get for them over the summer.
Yeah. So they added some shooting, and then Prince can hit. He's a 3-and-D guy, so he can hit the open shot, and then be a lockdown defender, and he can also handle the ball a little bit. So I do like those two signings. But the big, and of course, Gallinari is coming back. Crowder's coming back, if he can even walk at this point. You mentioned Middleton, who's going to miss some time regardless.
All the old guys are coming back.
Yeah. Lopez, of course. So here's the thing with Milwaukee, and this is absolutely no shade at Dame, and this is absolutely no shade at Giannis, and even no shade at Doc Rivers. Sometimes in relationships, you can have two amazing people and it just doesn't work for some odd reason. I have absolutely zero faith that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to contend for a championship. Now, with that said, Giannis is going to be phenomenal again. He's going to be in the MVP conversation. Giannis is also fully healed from that knee injury he's been dealing with for the last couple of years since the finals. That thing was still bothering him last year, believe it or not. So he's healthy. I think Giannis is going to have a monster year. As you always say, Dame is going to do Dame things, but it's just not going to work on that team. It's just not going to work because Giannis, I said this before, Dame has to be the closer. It's hard to tell a guy of Giannis' caliber to say, hey, the fourth quarter, Dame has to be the closer. It's just hard. And Doc Rivers did bring stability to Philly. He I drew a blank. I'm sorry. Ben Simmons flashed in my mind. I just drew a blank. But Doc did bring stability to that franchise when people are like, okay, is it going to be Simmons? Is it going to be Embiid? And we all know what the fuck happened. One's still playing at the MVP caliber. The other is off like dancing in flowers somewhere. Okay. But this one is a little tricky. So if you were Doc Rivers, who would you want with the ball in their hand as the closer in the fourth quarter?
Well, Dame, of course, that's what he does. But I'd almost say, like, it just depends. Are you talking about final shot or are you talking about the last couple minutes of a game? Because then I think it feels like, go ahead and give me a mix.
I'm talking about the last couple of minutes of the game because, and here's why it's such an issue with Milwaukee. In the finals, it worked in their favor, but traditionally, you don't want the ball in Giannis' hands because they're just going to foul him.
Yeah.
And you never know what you're going to get. You never know.
That being said, though, Giannis is the face of the franchise, and Giannis stepped up and made those free throws to win them a championship when it mattered most.
One game. So we can take his whole career of 10 years in that one game when he was like 50 points and then he hit like 17 or 18 free throws. It's cute, but from a totality standpoint, it's rare for him to do that.
I just believe in Giannis being somewhat clutch, and even if that doesn't result in free throws near the end of the game, like I said, a shot to go ahead, a shot to tie, last minute, something like that. Also, it's not like I don't want Dame to have the ball. I just think with those two guys there, going into last 5 minutes, I don't want to ice Giannis out. I'm just saying there needs to be a mix, and to me, that's one of the toughest parts about having this mix of type of players, because Dame should have the ball, but if Dame's not there, the offense is still flowing through Giannis. You know what I mean? It's not like even if he has to pass to Middleton to hit a shot, it's still going through him. So to take him out of it completely seems weird. But that's why they brought Dame there. So I just think so to get to your point, Dame should be doing it. They have a bad mix, and because of that mix, I feel like you can't ice Giannis out.
I didn't say ice
They
Giannis.
should have a better player to complement Giannis, I think.
No, I didn't say ice Giannis out. What you do is you use that big body as a decoy to create space for Dame, so Dame can either drive or Dame can shoot. Giannis is going to do one thing: put his head down and go to the basket. That's what he's going to do. Now he's going to shoot perimeter shots for the first 3 quarters and go to the basket. But in the 4th quarter, Giannis not shooting no threes and no shit like that. He's putting his head down. He's going to the basket. Dame will give you more of a offensive punch because you don't know if he's going to drive, if he's going to shoot, even if he's going to dish. So Giannis would have to be decoy, setting picks, sliding from up under the rim just in case, things like that. But we'll see how Doc with a full training camp with them for the first time. We'll see how Doc.
Also, in terms of having to navigate that, for all the flaws that Doc has, he is the right coach to help navigate some of these egos, and he's arguably one of the few coaches that can do it without a ton of pushback.
Right. No, I believe he can get. Like I say, the parts don't necessarily work well together, but he's the right one to not necessarily force it, but to kind of nurture it to
navigate it away from the pitfalls, I feel like.
Right, to where it needs to be. But yeah, Milwaukee, like I said, I don't think they're in the top 4. I think they'll be 5th position. I'm not even going to drop them to 6. I think they're going to land. You and Milwaukee, the Magic and Milwaukee are probably going to alternate 4 and 5. Indiana's probably going to be 6. But that's where I see the Bucks at going forward. But I think their championship window has closed right now. And they had to win it last year, and the wheels fell off.
Mm-hmm.
This year is absolutely they're going to have to make changes in this offseason coming up. They just can't keep going like this. Brook Lopez can't play until he's 50. Middleton can't play until he's 50.
Mm-hmm.
They got rid of Drew last year. Like, I tell you, man. I don't know.
Ball wins a championship with him, so
my boy Drew. He just wins championships and gold medals. That's what he does. So we're going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the Hardwood Nation podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share our content. If you're a fan of basketball, drop comments below. We always respond to the 1 or 2 we get usually. Everyone stay safe, and we are out.